Good afternoon. It's afternoon where I am. How's that? This is gonna be the first episode. Is everyone ready? I don't know if I am. Well, just because I've been not feeling well. I had like a cold last week around Thanksgiving. Whatever that was. Could be more than a week ago. I don't know. Time is flying like crazy now. Getting ready to do makeup. So I'm gonna be staying home today. I don't feel great. It's not the end of the world, but having some congestion and some kind of cough or something. So I'm just trying to take it easy. Hopefully it dissipates. So I'm not going anywhere. So this will be like a casual, I'm not sick makeup look. So that's what we're going for today. I have my trusty Betsy Johnson makeup bag. So the whole point of this is just to have fun and go kind of through my makeup routine, also my life routines, or just occurrences and some things. Like today I wanted to talk about, I think, some of the things with my twin that I experienced. Man, I totally ruined my pencils. Not totally. Okay, we're fine. You need to calm down. Melodramatic. Okay, so is everything in here? Yes. I like to keep my foundation and my moisturizer together so that they're all ready to go. I use these shiny bags to put my serums or hair serums or things that kind of make you shiny. So I put my foundation. It's a radiant foundation. I love this stuff. It is by Pacifica. It's got a little SPF in it. It's got a little tint to it. What shade do I have? Because I think there's different shades. Am I right or wrong? I don't know. Maybe I'm not. Warm light. That's the one I use. Yep. And then I love this moisturizer. It's also by Pacifica. Vegan collagen. They have some collagen products that are purely vegan, so I don't know where they get those from because I don't know anything about it. But vegan collagen, it's super awesome. I love it. I use it in my hair. That's one of the reasons my hair looks so nice and thick. It's because I use this collagen stuff. So I use the collagen shampoo by Pacifica and the conditioner. They also have a mask that I use periodically too. Collagen repair. And it works great. And so I love their collagen products. They have a bunch more too, but this is the moisturizer. I really like it. I just got it out of my car because I keep my stuff in my car. And so it's gonna be cold a little bit, but that's okay. So I think moisturizing is super important. I kind of forgot to do this, but I like to use rose water and watermelon spray. I have this watermelon facial mist, hydrating mist. It's really similar to rose water, although I think it has a little bit of shimmer to it, sheerness, shine to it. But I like both of those products a lot. I forgot to put those on, but usually I do that. Since we're not going anywhere, it doesn't matter. Yeah. And let's do the foundation next. I can't wait to go to the eye doctor soon. Next year, once I get things figured out, so I can get new glasses and contacts. Because it's kind of hard to do. It is hard to do makeup with glasses, in my opinion. I like to use liquid foundation, and I like to use my fingers, so I don't know if that's the tea for everyone, but it is for me. Also, I'm in a habit of putting foundation. I like to bring it down because I have stubble that I don't like on my face. And I find that little foundation covers it up pretty good. Again, not that it matters because I'm not going anywhere today. So your basic foundation. I might have to blow my nose a couple times. Excuse me. So it's very basic, but I like these products a lot. And something I really like about this, it says Radiant Foundation. I like it. It says it's color correcting makeup and skincare with coconut water. I find it's very hydrating. It says it's moisture rich, which I agree, it is. And that's why I like it so much. So I use my moisturizer and then put my foundation on, which kind of acts as a semi-moisturizer anyway. And so I really like to take care of my skin best way I can. And I think moisturizing really goes a long way. For me, I tend not to use oily moisturizers that often because I have oily skin. So I use the rose mist a lot and rose water, and I use that watermelon spray. I have quite a bit. I need to explore some contour and stuff because I don't know what I'm doing. So maybe we'll just explore and have some fun. And let's get into some topics now because it's been kind of boring. Start to the video, a little makeup. Won't let me here all day long. I got my tea here. Hopefully I don't spill it on me. It is the New Me Breakfast Blend. It has Darjeeling and Ceylon. Says that it. What are you gonna? Assam. Yum. So this is my first bag. I'm gonna try it. I'm really excited. I love Darjeeling tea. So I'm very excited about this blend. I really like New Me's tea. I usually don't buy black tea that often. Well, I like Earl Grey, so I'm very particular about black tea. It's kind of plain to me. I do like Ceylon. It's very tasty for a black tea. So this has been steeping for enough time, probably. Cheers, my friends. Tea time with Indi Ray. Is that what this thing is called? I forget. It's tea time with Indi Ray. Yum. Oh, that feels great on my throat. Okay. Make sure I put this somewhere where I don't spill it. Okay. This is great. We'll use that later. So, I don't know, where should we start talking? I don't know. This is nice. Blush. This bronzer. So that's a lighter shade, darker shades. Okay, I'm exploring new techniques. So where should we start talking from the first episode? I was going to talk about channeling and my twin and some experiences I've had. What is channeling like for me? What is it like being a medium? And I can really only explain what it's like in my experience. And that's why I don't like labels, because I'm all kinds of different things and I don't really know if you can pinpoint one. So if I try to compare myself to other mediums, it might look weird because that's not everything that I do. And actually, when I'm in my shop and I do tarot readings and things, and especially spirit readings, my ultimate goal with any client is to help them transform themselves. So illuminating their own well-being, their own personal qualities, things that come up in the reading as messages. So I tend to attract messages from and for people based on generalities and spiritual, which tends to be more general energy. So not so much, let's do a love reading or where's your career going? Although I will attempt to address those questions in readings, depending on what the messages say upon inquiring about such things. I always give my opinion on what I see in any reading and feel primarily. So I don't know. Excuse me. Well, I get this. This will be a very casual first episode. I like raw and unfiltered. Try not to edit videos anymore. And I think, like, why do it? What have I gotten in my brush? It's a makeup sticker from another product. Okay. So for me, I can only talk about my experiences as a medium, psychic, whatever you want to call it. I really hate all those labels, to be honest with you. Channeler is pretty comfortable to me because it's pretty general. I use on my business card and website, I call myself sensory intuitor, which is just a random, or not, just a general label for the process of what I do. So it's more general of a label for me. And then I also call myself an energy translator. So I find that that for me fits me better than some labels that carry other connotations, such as medium and psychic, although I use those for people's comfort around people I don't know because that's what they're used to. But anyway, to say all that, because when I'm living my daily life, and other mediums might experience it this way, others might not. Like I know channelers and mediums online and things and books I've read, like some people channel differently. Some people, like Pamela Ehrlin on YouTube, she has been seeing things and been awakened to her spiritual abilities since the age of 5. For me, I think things probably happened to me when I was younger, but I've never really noticed. Nothing's really got my attention until my great grandmother passed away. So then that's kind of when that opened the door for me. So I don't always see spirits of humans, although that was kind of my first encounter that I remember was one with a human relative. So it definitely happens with me. I've shied away from calling myself a medium in the past because I don't always pick up on those energies. And so it's like imposter syndrome. You think you're a fraud a lot with things like this. Because, I mean, there are a lot of frauds in these fields, and the energy around these kinds of things is centered around fraudulence or showiness or deceit, like deceiving people to make money. So, and then in media, it's scary or like they're gonna predict your death or something bad that's gonna happen. So it's very ominous, and like Ouija boards are popular in media and shows and film. And it's this kind of vibe that kind of goes along with this whole spirituality energy field, which is so wide and so neutral that in both good and bad, like there's all kinds of things out there that you can do and that people participate in. Our own governments, for God's sakes, participate in really dark arts that would surprise the entire globe, I'm sure, but they do. And so these things are possible. Like this gentleman came into the store the other day and he was talking about being at a fair with his artwork yesterday. And he got into where he was saying like it's a crazy world out there or something. And I guess people were asking if he'd be back next year to the fair with his artwork. And he was talking about how crazy the world is. And just like, I don't know if I'm. And I deal with, in the location that I work, I do deal with clients like this periodically, semi-periodically. Ones who are maybe a minority or like more likely poverty, not necessarily minority. But I deal with people who have been through hardships either because of poverty or because of circumstances, whether it's like psychological things in their family. A lot of my clients that come to see me actually have gifts, and a lot of them are aware of that. Some of them are afraid of it. Some of them haven't quite fully embraced their gifts. Like they still hold on to shame and things from their past or things that have happened to them. And so my goal with any client is to help them understand. So I don't really know what I'm doing here. So I've seen people do something like this. Like, do I just do it with my finger? I don't know. I've seen them do like lines of things. Like, how do you do that? It confuses me. Is that right? I don't know. And then they do like darker underneath. I should do lighter on top. This is me experimenting in life. So we'll see. I guess I should try to do it even. So we'll see how I like this. And then there's also contouring you can do like here maybe. This is gonna look so silly. But I want to try this because I've seen people do it and I don't really want someone to show me. I want to see it myself and see how it works. So, add slight bronzer. Cool. And, what was I talking about? So for me, I felt inadequate as a medium, even still sometimes to this day, like I doubt myself quite a bit. This is looking weird, but we're gonna go for it. And like, so I don't always pick up on energies, even though I say that and I've felt that way for years and try to make excuses like, well, I'm not like a fool. I sometimes do, sometimes don't. Try to make excuses for myself and talk myself down, even though in reality, That's quite true, actually. I am a medium. I just don't pick up on souls all that often. I tend to pick up on different spiritual energies. Angels, aliens are really common for me. Energetic beings, similar to angels, guides, spirit guides. Some of these can include humans, but most of the time not, or they might have been human once, but not anymore. I don't know if I'm doing any of this right at all or not. Let's see. Am I Kim Kardashian yet? I don't really want to be, but... Okay. Is it something like that? Are we learning yet? I don't really know. I think I've just made a big mess on my face. So here is the tea time and mess on your face hour with Indi. Great. And but it's not always true. Like, I do pick up on people, deceased spirits. It's happened recently. I've just kept my mouth shut because it's weird, and I don't really want to say things because it's weird to be like, hey, I think is your grandma here? You know, it's kind of weird. And or did your grandma pass? I feel like they're around you a lot, even though I've wanted to say that to a friend of mine. But I feel like, you know, the timing is always right, and so I kind of wait for that perfect feeling opportunity. Like, sometimes it's an urge and I can't help myself, and I'll find myself saying things without even wanting to. Like, if I try not to say them, that's happened before. But things just get drawn out of you as a channel sometimes. And, so I was even confused about my own mediumship skills for a long time. You know, I was aware of the presence of angels and stuff, and I was aware of things like my grandmother and things that happened to me in my past years, but I still did not really feel like a medium fully, so I was having insecurities, labeling myself as one. But I've picked up on people's relatives and things before, so it's definitely not out of the question. But for me, in my life as a medium, or whatever you want to call it, it's been very much like that, where it's not this or that, it's a realm of things. And the way that I channel, like, there's channels that I know, like, who write books and do YouTube and things, and they tend to channel one specific entity or two specific entities or guides over and over. And while I do connect and talk with specific guides that are the same over time, mine change often. And I also, when I channel, I open myself to whatever comes, and I find that I'm more of a broad channel, so I can channel many things. I think that this has haunted me my whole life. That's something I feel like I wanted to talk about in this episode. Was I do feel like it's been traumatic for me, and I think it's traumatic for a lot of people. And the thing in media is that we are looked at as on a pedestal, and in real life, in my real life experience, I have experienced this. Either people think that you are trying to show off and like make a claim that you know things that other people can't know, which is not what I'm trying to do, but it comes across that way sometimes. This doesn't look too bad, so I'm learning some things. So there's that, and then we are all channels, and we all do this, but media puts us on a pedestal as either being scary or fraudulent, or fraudulent doing things for money, embezzling, basically, in other words, in a different way. So, like, it has all this weird connotation to it. Let's use this blush, I think. Or maybe should we do like a blush down and then a lighter one. And then media portrays. So I've run across people that probably like are skeptical of me, but usually people that come to see me, even if they're skeptical or afraid, there's some kind of interest there, so they usually open up to me. I'm a very calm person, generally speaking, and when you first get to know me anyway. But I've had people kind of react towards me as if I'm something special, that I know things that they don't. And while I might be able to pick up things that they might not be aware of in one manner or one form, doesn't mean that I know more than they do. I don't actually. In fact, I don't really know anything. When I'm reading energies for people, I just read energy. I don't really know the specifics, especially with tarot reading. Well, it's with any reading. If I'm channeling for someone or if I'm doing tarot, I don't know. And I often feel like a fool when I'm saying the things that I'm experiencing or feeling. I've said really specific things to people, like, and I'm like, I keep getting it, and I don't want to say it. It's a weird thing to say. I'm like, I feel like you're reading a book about romance right now. And she was like, I'm rereading Twilight. So it's the weirdest things that happen. So I just read the energy, and like specifics like that can come out, but they're usually very general specific. You know what I mean? Like, what does that really have to do with anything? I'm not predicting anything major in her life. It's just something that kind of connects for her. Excuse me, please. Ready dose today. No bueno. I don't know, this is looking like something, but who cares? Because I'm sick today, and it seems like, am I sick, or did I just do a shitty makeup job? Who cares? I'm just trying to go to the store, kind of vibe. So I got blush. I could do a little highlighter, like a little shimmery. Do we want to do something fancy? Although we're doing a sick makeup look, so we gotta think what would go with this. I have this highlighter. No, I think this one will work with what I got going on. It's a liquid highlighter. I really like these liquid highlighters, but they're like so intense, you like barely need any. Like, I'll do like, and yeah. So, in my opinion, everyone has these abilities to some degree, whether they know it or not, in some form or fashion. Whether it's through feeling or sight or knowing or sensing or whatever. Or channeling or whatever it is. Because we all channel. An example of channeling would be like when an NBA player is in the zone and makes like a really huge shot from far away to like win the game. And he's like in that zone and he knows he's gonna make it when he shoots it. That's channeling. Like when you know when to be in the right place at the right time. It's really demonstrable in sports, which are very popular. But even things like dance, very intuitive, like you know where to be. You're channeling things. When you see birds migrate and they do the V to break the wind, how do they know how to do that? Is it years of evolution, or is it rather more so channeling and knowing where to be? Knowing what makes the most sense for my survival is not just a logical perception, but also a sensory perception. There's more than just the mind. We're entrenched in physical senses. We receive information all the time. Now, because modern science for a while has been focused on the brain and things that happen in the brain, it thinks, scientists in the world tend to think that everything is in here, your emotions, all that stuff. Don't really want to toss feathers, but I don't feel like that's true at all. So we got everything on, I think. And yeah. Let's do it like this. I don't know. There it is. So, excuse me. Take a sip of tea. Tea time. It's tea time. So we all channel. This is my point. Birds, trees, all of us. Another way of channeling just means like bringing in information. Like we look at our geniuses that come up with these crazy equations and prodigal symphonies and things like that, and we think it's amazing, and it is. They're also tapping in. It's not that they're better than anyone else. It's this whole thing. They're tapping into themselves. It's very much, it's exactly what you do when you're channeling as a medium, tapping into yourself, into your senses, and doing from there. So for me, that's why I like to call myself energy translator. It's literally what I'm doing. I don't often hear words, but that can happen. And sometimes words will pop up in my mind, or names and things. So it's not like language is impossible for me. I'm actually quite adept to sound, but interestingly enough, I don't channel sound that often. I channel through feeling more often, and visuals in my mind somewhat, but it's more like thought versus and energy. So whenever I'm translating or channeling a tarot, I'm feeling energy and I'm trying to find ways of explaining that energy out the way I see it and the way I'm perceiving. And I need you to be there, whether I'm recording it for you or I need you present and wanting it, because I'm basing it off you. So I'm contacting myself, connecting with myself and my senses, translating the energy, but I'm also focused on you, because any good reader will tell you, any good reader knows. Do I have my eye primer? Here we go. I love my eyelid primer so much. Again, not that it matters because I'm not. But I keep getting sidetracked on my conversation. We all channel. We're all channelers. So what I'm doing is I connect to myself and I translate the energy. But any good reader knows it's based on the client. It's based off you. Whether you're on YouTube and you're reading for strangers or you're reading for a strange client that you've not met before, I mean, stranger to you, it doesn't really matter. Or if it's someone you know, it doesn't matter in any of those circumstances. You can have bias as a reader. I'm not talking about that. That is definitely always a possibility with anything. That's something that a good reader is aware of and tries to, as much as possible, remove themselves from readings, which is something through practice at times really easy to do, actually. It's the same thing as reading energy. You can kind of learn whenever you're getting in the way a little bit and back off a little bit. Same as like if am I interpreting this energy right? Is this person resonating with what I'm saying? Are the words I'm hearing resonating with the energy I'm feeling and being given by a guide or being or something? Because they will let me know. And I can tell by the feeling. It's like, ooh, that feels a little off, or it can be broken down further into more specifics that have more meaning, or can be said in a different way that has more meaning and reach. So the spirits, they know that. I don't. I listen for it. And so I tailor what I say based on what I'm feeling, and that can change moment to moment to moment. So that's a little bit of channeling 101 for me. My nose is going crazy. It's time of year, I guess. Yum. That's a nice blend. I think I'd rather just have Darjeeling. I can taste the Darjeeling in it, and I just want the Darjeeling. Okay. I've always been sensitive to subtle things, though. I've had doctors tell me I'm crazy, and like there's no way you can feel what they're talking about. I was like, well, I think I feel this change already, and they're like, there's no way, it's just happened. And I'm like, well, okay, well, I do, but you can go on thinking I don't. It's fine. Keep telling me what I feel. I know it's funny because a lot of people think things are in your head, and whether they are or not doesn't really matter. Because if you're feeling them, they're real to you, and it really is no one's business. And how is anyone going to know anyway? And what does it even matter? And I think it's an excuse for people to shut themselves off of greater truths, because greater truths can make us uncomfortable for sure. I find that I make people uncomfortable inadvertently because of especially these days, because I'm much more specific in my approach and how I speak, but I'd say I'm more blunt now than I used to be. Although, in my beginning days of being outspoken online, I feel like I was pretty blunt. I don't really know how to explain it. I've just tailored myself along the way. Pretty. So we can all channel. Just a matter of connecting with yourself. It's like Einstein, E equals MC squared. That's kind of like channeling. I mean, there's no real hard line defining what channeling is or what it isn't, and there's different forms. So like whether I got my eyes closed and I'm more in a trance and I'm channeling a spirit who is speaking more directly through me, or whether I'm just speaking with a friend and I bring up information, I was like, well, maybe we should go here, because, and then there might be a traffic jam over there or something. You never know. So channeling can be very minute or very grandiose. I think in terms of Hollywood and everything, we think of psychic things as being really big and showy, and like I can levitate and I can do these crazy things, which are possible, but even I haven't learned how to do that yet. So I think as humans we need to learn how to back off this hierarchy of someone has more skills or more knowledge, or less skills, less ability, less knowledge, more right, more worth, less rights, less worth, which is very much entrenched into the past way of living as humans, and we're kind of growing out of that. Looks pretty alright. I might do a little touch of yellow. What do y'all think? There's a little bit of a lavender. It's called Libra. It's this nice purple hue that I put on my eyes. I started with Crescent Moon, a little silvery one. And then now we're gonna put on, but I want this yellow, this Soleil. It's a 2 shade. I'm gonna use that bottom neon yellow. Is this like my, is this the Stargazer's palette or something? Stellar Gaze. Close enough. I don't know if this is gonna turn out right. I should probably use that other brush. I can't see. Let's do, I don't think I've got enough on it. So it's really weird for me. Life is weird for me, and talking about these things in my life has been weird for me, and I've been reluctant to do so along these years, even if it hasn't seemed like it to some people that are on my social media. May or may not seem like it, I don't know. A little bit of like a yellow eyeliner. I don't know if this is working or not. Excuse me. A little subtlety. So let's wrap this train up because we're finishing up the makeup and everything else. But in my everyday experiences, it's actually pretty rare for me to notice a human spirit in particular. Because I'm living and I'm focused in my human life. And I'm focused on humans and myself. So I'm not, even though I'm very perceptive and open to the other side, as it's called, or whatever, my focus is generally, especially like at work and when I'm doing things, I'm in this reality. So it's strange. Like with my twin, I've known that I've had a twin my whole life. In college, my friend who could see things was talking, I talked to her about it and she could see energy around me. So I started to formulate, things about my twin. Thought it might be, interestingly enough, a woman. And at the time I was still identifying painfully as male. And it's interesting that I thought my twin would be a girl. But then I had my first medium session that I went to see a medium myself. That looks good, doesn't it? I love it. I don't think I'll put mascara on because I'm not leaving the house. I have these eyebrow things too. I don't even know if I have my eyebrow things here. I do. Great. And so it's been scary to me and weird and like hurtful and disappointing almost, and like I almost like shame with myself because I go my whole life and I can go months, almost a year sometimes, without even thinking about my twin or talking to him, even though that's a possibility for me. Well, this is bad because I don't have my glasses on. Ooh. Well, there's gonna be someone. Again, who cares? I'm not leaving the house. This is why I need contacts. That's not so bad. I like this one because it comes, what is this, L'Oreal or something? Item, I don't know this brand. I think it came from Ipsy. But it has this nice little bridge. been upsetting to me because there are times that I don't notice my twin, and then I'll experience him. And lately, the last year or so, I've been talking to him more than I usually do, and aware of him. Like as time goes on, I can sense him more, and we're closer and closer as time goes on, right? Excuse me. And we talk to each other somewhat, but like the other night, I had this crazy experience where we visited one another, and it was just so surreal that I thought I would try to describe in words to you all a little bit about it. So let me finish with a bit of lighter bronzer below, maybe? Because it's a little uneven color here, I think that's a little better, maybe? Yeah, it's a little more blended. Cool, and then, so I have this dew setting spray, crystal dew setting spray, I think it's by Pacifica. I love Pacifica. They don't pay me to do anything, so I'm not famous yet enough. Only famous in Clifton, Louisville. No, it's not true, because I go around the bars sometimes and people recognize me from working in the Clifton area here. So it's like from the area that they know me, but I'm famous already. I love it because it does give you a bit of a shine, and it's a setting spray. I really like finishing powders and setting sprays because it's like, seal it in, friend. I am sick and I'm staying at home, but if I need to go to the store, this is my makeup look today. Okay. And I had this most surreal experience with my twin Logan recently. When I saw him 5 years ago and met him for the first time, and the medium described him as looking like me, only taller. I was still identifying as presenting as male at that time. Still, and like, he asked me to name him. I named him Logan. And now, since I've been changed my name, Logan and Indigo, I feel like sounds so much better as twin names. Very similar, and it's really interesting. So that's cool. And I found out that he was male, or would likely be a cisgender male had he lived. And I feel like, and in the session, I feel like he told me to say he had to leave, he had to depart. And so then most of his material was left and discarded and miscarried. And then there was 20-30% that was remaining that absorbed, and you've heard of twins eating one another. It absorbed into my DNA. So I kind of have a feeling that the reason why I'm a transgender woman in particular has to do with my twin's DNA. In terms of physical, I'm not talking about spiritual reasons why this might be beneficial to both of us, because there are those reasons for sure. But then I don't know, I thought, well, maybe either way, whether he is born or not with me, I might have still been in this body and still been in a trans woman's body. But I feel like his DNA really did influence me, but there was a purpose for that. So I try not to talk about this too much. I've talked about it in front of people, and it makes them uncomfortable because they're inferring things that I'm not trying to say, which might sound like I'm trying to say them, based on what the education and awareness of what people know already in the world today. But he could not have been born because the desires that I have put in place for my life here, and all of them I'm not even aware of, but a lot of them I am. Some of them I am, some of them I'm still discovering. Like, some of them are more general things that I know, and I don't know specifics about my life, but I generally know why I'm here. And there's no way my twin could have been born. If he was born, I would have been coddled by him my whole life. I would not be the person you see before you today. I needed these challenges in my life. I needed to do this alone. I'm still doing some things alone, and there's a reason for that, and it's a path that I've chosen. So because of that and many other things, he had to leave, and anyway, he can help me more apparently on the other side, which I understand the logic of it, but I don't understand how it works at all, so I don't really know exactly what he means by that, but he's told me that multiple times, that our relationship is actually much more beneficial, one on the other side and one here, than it would be having us both here, which makes sense to me, but I still don't really understand what exactly he means by that, but I know I trust him and believe him in that. And recently I had this experience, I'll try to wrap this up really quickly, where I saw him again recently and felt him, and it was as close to being real as anything. And you know, there are people that believe in hallucinations. I certainly believe in hallucinations, but what I was experiencing I would not call a hallucination. First of all, it was not very visual, it was mostly sensory. But I could see like his forearm in my mind, like as if because I was like laying my head on him, like I was laying on my bed, and it's like I was in his arms, and I could feel him. I could feel him. I had my hands on him, like this is all kind of like in my mind, so to speak, but I could literally feel him like it was a dream or something, and I was wide awake, like, and I started sobbing because it's the most I ever felt him, the most real, and like he felt here. He's never felt that real to me or here with me like that before. It's just been like, oh, spirit, he's here, he's connected to me, I know he's there, but I don't always feel him. Sometimes I do, but it's kind of like subtle. This was like so intense. The other night, like a week ago, I went through profound healing through it because I was sobbing, and it was like mourning someone that you've lost to death, because I've never gotten to know him. He wasn't ever born, and it was like meeting someone that has died, and it was ground shaking for me, and I had to take time to process it for a while. But it was one of the most profound, beautiful experiences I've ever had in my life, and I don't really know how to explain it, but weird things like that will happen to me, but they happen usually very occasionally, like not very often. But you know, as I continue to do this, things happen to me more and more. Specific stones I might wear, like when I had that one amethyst necklace. When I wear my amethyst and my amethyst earrings, I tend to pick up information in my environment a lot more, which can be not so fun sometimes. Sometimes it feels very invasive, like, oh, I don't want to know these things, or I don't want to be thinking about it. So I try to like divert my attention when that happens, but certain stones can enhance my abilities. Yeah, but for the most part, it's not very often as you would think. Like, just I think people might have in their mind like a medium, and some mediums this is true. They're always like seeing spirits and stuff, and for some people that is true, and that sounds scary to me because I don't know how you would. But in the same degree, though, I can't lie, I feel like something like that has happened to me in my life. Like I was mentioning earlier, I do feel like these things that have happened to me have caused me trauma because they're so surreal experiences, kind of like with the twin. Although we're talking like before in my life where I had no idea what was going on, right? And I think sometimes I would make my family upset or my friends upset by saying something that I would just feel and blurt out. And I think it would strike a nerve, whether it was true or they felt like I was getting in close to something they didn't want to even talk about, whether it was something that I said was true or was not even what they were hiding from me, but it was too close to the area. I feel like things like that have happened because I've had strange reactions from people very random, like rarely in my life, but it's been like a pattern. So I think that I've startled people without knowing it, and maybe even startled myself. So it's been really weird. And then to have the experience with my great-grandmother was traumatic at the time, and I was still going through my own spiritual beliefs and not even really sure myself. So that was kind of the beginning of all my spiritual transformation, where I was really, because at that time, around the time that she passed away, was one of the times where I was really in one of my deepest existential moments, where I didn't really know what I believed, and I didn't really believe in much afterwards. Oh my goodness, rude. Biological processes are normal, and I refuse to feel ashamed by them and to edit them out as if there's something wrong with them. So that's just a side note I wanted to say. Excuse me, I'm sorry for all the nasties, but life is medium for me is weird. But I still am human. I still go on living my life. I'm a trans woman. I have to, like, I just discovered that, so I'm a psychic, so to say, but I didn't know that my whole life. Well, I did, but yeah, I suppressed it from myself because of safety reasons. So life is weird. I don't know. I think we're all in this together for sure, and I think we all have overlapping and very similar experiences, even if the details of them can be quite different. So I think it's important, I think it's interesting and fun for me to share these things, because I feel like there are a lot of people like me out there. If you're a human, you have the ability to channel in one way or another. So I try to open up people's perspectives a little bit and try to get them to think about things they normally wouldn't, and try to get them to get out of that box a little bit. Not in a dangerous way, but in a what if, maybe. What if? What if? And just because I am aloof a lot and I do the what ifs and I do open myself up to potential beliefs from others and I take them on, it doesn't mean that I believe in them fully. I'll believe in them for a moment. I think there's this thing that you have to, like, I don't know, humans are so interesting. I mean, I've done it. We all fall victim to it. And, I don't know. I was going somewhere with that. Because people, I think that's why I bother people when I talk about things. Because I seem so confident in my belief in what I believe that it's hard for people to hear it, even though they might not believe it. And it's just like in politics today. They'll hear something they disagree with, and it bothers them because they're bringing it really far in and looking at it from within. Like, what if that were me believing that? And if they don't believe it, then it's like, whoa, that's weird. And then they get kind of weird and like, no, nope. So that's my observation, kind of what I've noticed with people. Yeah. Much love. Until next week, I'm going to try to get these up every Wednesday around 8 p.m. Love you all.